Hi, it's Nick on the 30th of November with the fourth thought of this week's theme of, when things don't work out, when we fail, or when just things don't go according to our plan. And quite a few years ago I read a book by a woman called Mariana Kaplan, she's the author of The Way of Failure, which doesn't sound like a very inspiring title for a book, but I so loved what she was talking about in the book. I'm just rereading it again at the moment about, this idea that we've been touching on this week, which is sometimes what appears to be a failure from a kind of ego perspective is actually a great success from a deeper perspective. So I'm just going to read you a little bit of just a few lines of part of the book that I loved, and I like the way, because we're generally, I think we're very much so, in the UK, but around the world, we're very obviously focused on success. We want success, we celebrate success. We tend not to talk about failure so much. We see it as something to be ashamed of or to not talk about. And this is a very different perspective on the idea of failing. So she says, we are not taught how to fail and how to lose with dignity and awareness. Our so-called and imagined failures become the doorway to profound success in our lives. Success that is not measured by commonplace standards, but by the currency of depth of being, compassion, and wisdom. In fact, failure and loss have the possibility to be amongst humanity's greatest tools for a process of radical internal transformation that is deeply satisfying as well as enduring. The very experiences, events and emotions we fear most and attempt to avoid are frequently our greatest opportunities. Openings we often pass up because our apprehension keeps us from learning to experience failure in such a way that it is transformed into invaluable gain. Now, I love that. So again, I'm going to post it underneath this video. But that, I found when I first read this a few years ago, I found it so validating in a way, because my experience, I've had reasonable degrees of success in many areas, and, experienced so many things that don't seem to have turned out, whether that's professionally, personally, relationship-wise, all sorts, and I think that's just the ground of being human, that we're always going to make mistakes and things aren't going to go the way we want, and how do we handle that? And I just love this idea that often where things really don't go as we plan them to, and there's that great feeling of disappointment or disheartenment, that actually those can be fantastic doorways into a whole new way of being. I like also the idea that when we experience these things, perhaps we almost get immunized for them in future, that we handle them and we learn to deal with them, so they no longer are scary for us in the future, because we're kind of gone, I've experienced this, I've handled it, I've integrated it, so therefore I need not be so afraid of failing in the future or things going wrong, because I know I can handle it and I know there's always a gift in it for me. So it's a very different perspective than most of the success kind of methods we're taught. But to me, it's the other side of the coin, failure as the doorway to greater and new successes. So I hope that's helpful, and I'll be back tomorrow with another thought. God bless. Bye-bye.